Hello, welcome back to the InsTech podcast. Zoya here, and this week Robin is digging into some of the big questions shaping insurance technology right now. How do US and European markets really compare when it comes to innovation? Is the future about tearing out old systems or modernizing what you already have? And where does AI fit into it all? To explore that and more, Robin is joined by Chris Quirk, VP and General Manager of Insurance Ecosystems at Insurity. Chris works across carriers, MGAs, and brokers worldwide, giving him a unique vantage point on how the market is evolving. Chris also shares how he's hearing directly from clients and why he believes the next few years will bring unprecedented change in distribution and digitization. So if you're curious about the forces reshaping insurance technology and where Insurity sees the market heading next, sit back and enjoy the conversation.
Hello and welcome back to InsTech's weekly podcast series. Today our guest is Chris Quirk. He's a VP General Manager of the Insurance Ecosystem at Insurity. Chris, welcome.
Thanks for having me today, Robin. It's great to be here.
I can't quite trace the accent. Where are you based? Austin, Texas, do I gather?
I am. I'm based out of Austin, Texas. It's a nice, warm summer day here today.
Yeah, I know we're basking in summer glory, but I suspect it's a bit hotter there than it is here. So you've got quite an intriguing job title there. How do you spend your days?
Yeah, it is an interesting title. In this role, I have this unique vantage point in which I get to work across a broad base of our customers, including carriers, MGAs, MGUs, intermediaries, you name it, all the different sectors of the P&C insurance industry. And I work cross-functionally across Insurity to ensure that 10 of our key product focus areas are duly represented for both our customers, both internally, externally. And I work alongside the other general managers at Insurity to ensure that we are satisfying our customers, that product innovation is ongoing.
Interesting. So quite broad remit. And then this is the second podcast we've done with Insurity. We had your former CEO, Chris LaFond, on just over a year ago. Give us an update. What would be the highlights?
The great news is Insurity continues to trend well, growing. I know, as Chris discussed in his podcast, Insurity is a 30-year-old plus strong company originating in the tier 1 through tier 3 carrier space. But Insurity embarked on a key strategic move in 2019 to expand its addressable market into the intermediary market, and specifically not just in the US, but also in the London and European market. And that particular initiative continues to bear fruit. That's where we're seeing a lot of our growth year on year. And specifically, it's an area that I focus on. I work closely with our London office and our US office to really fully realize this vision that we've been really executing upon for the past 4.5 or so years.
So that's encouraging news. So what do you think's driving the growth, particularly, of course, because I'm based here in London, the London-based activities? What's the underpinning your successes?
Yeah, there's really a couple of themes or reasons by which I see this growth occurring within our customer base and within new prospects. And one of them is just the investment that Insurity continues to make into the strategy itself in bringing together 8 different solutions with a very deep set of functionality. But in addition to that, you can't ignore the actual growth in the market itself. So the E&S market, whether that be in the US and 10 years of unprecedented growth that we've seen, but also the E&S growth that you're starting to see across the global and UK and European market. This is something that we're certainly gaining advantage on. And then in addition to that, we're starting to see our customer base itself, some of the largest wholesale brokers in the world, starting to invest and grow into the UK and European markets. So many of them themselves are driving our growth globally.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors all working in your favor. There's a lot of money in the US right now. There's been much talk of consolidation. I'm not sure anyone necessarily saw that being international consolidation, but there's no doubt about it. US insurance entities are broadening their geographic scope. Is that just PE money, do you think? Are these people doing big roll-ups, or do you think there's something else at play?
Certainly, when you look at this, the money that's flowing into the market from both private equity, venture capital in some cases, and as well in the public markets is continuing to drive some of the roll-ups, as you mentioned, Robin. But I think when I look at it, M&A in the US market continues to be hot. We're still seeing companies trading at high multiples. But I think after many years of this hot market, there's fewer and fewer targets out there that are available. And I think as we look at where are some of our customers going, they're looking to the international market to grow. And the growth that we're expecting to see over the next 3 years is driving a lot of our US market companies that work with us to grow, purchase, and then expand our footprint even more globally.
Of course, the irony is we're having this conversation at exactly the time that InsTech has just been bought by Datos Insights for almost exactly the same reasons that you've just described. And if I've got you right, then US customers are buying UK, London, European-based MGAs, MGUs, and then the growth is driven because they want to put their acquisition targets onto Insurity, consolidated view. Is that what's happening?
That is accurate, is that many of our existing customers in which we're deeply entrenched are now moving into the international market for many reasons, as we just discussed. And as they do that, they're looking for a technology platform on which they can continue to expand and grow, do so efficiently, run workflows both in their US market and London market similarly, and then as well collect information that they can use with obviously new technology that is on the forefront or on the precipice of all of these businesses' minds.
Now, at the risk of being provocative, and it's not unknown in these podcasts, I say to myself, I've had plenty of war stories of companies buying or trying to expand the use of an US originating technology into a European market and having issues with single currencies or language or syndication or some of the weird and wonderful things we do in this part of the world. Presumably you're fit for purpose and have been doing this for a long time, so that's not something that your customers now need to worry about.
As I mentioned earlier, this is one of the unique value propositions that we have in that many of the acquisitions we made were already deeply entrenched in the London market. We have the insurance expertise with over 20 plus years of actual engagement in this market across these acquisitions, but many of them already have the features and functionality that you would expect to operate in a global market. I think, Robin, I would actually postulate a separate way of thinking of this, which is we see a lot of European market vendors moving into the US, and they struggle with some of the challenges of entering the US market. So it goes both ways. And I think we see that with many of our London market long-standing relationships now actually doing the same as our US market and venturing to purchase businesses in the US or to expand more into the US market and demanding some of the bureau compliance needs that they have as they enter into the US market. We're able to solve those problems eloquently as well. So we can assist companies moving to the US and companies moving from the US to London and European market. And I think that's something that many vendors struggle with, having both sides of that equation.
And you're doing all that in a world where you have a mad president who will impose tariffs at the drop of a hat, which I've no idea whether there's any likelihood of tariffs on technology anytime soon. Give me an update on the product suite. So it's selling well. It's a combination of things that you've put together. Just summarize what that looks like at this moment in time.
As you look at the history of Insurity is really in core system providing. So whether that be policy administration systems or agency management systems or otherwise. And the strategy that we embarked upon actually invested in both or multiple different vectors: policy administration systems, agency management systems, geospatial and risk analysis capabilities. And all of those capabilities have really over the past 4 years matured into a comprehensive suite or offering that supports customers either in full end-to-end processing or simply modularly supporting underwriting workbenches, admitted and bureau rating capabilities in the US, or even just simply data and analytics, which is a strong capability that we have and on offer in the London market and many of our customers utilize today.
And how much of that is old technology and how much is new technology? So I'm conscious that you got the acquisitions, you put those together, you must be developing, you must be upgrading those. Have you added anything new in recent years or recent months?
Yeah, I think if you look at how we've executed over the past 3-4 years is really to modernize the technology that we acquired. So many of these systems have been in the marketplace for 20 plus years, but in many cases, these were either desktop applications or they were even antiquated SaaS applications from maybe 10, 15 years ago. And what we have done is actually invest in modernizing these applications to be really cloud first, cloud enabled, to really provide scalability and modern capabilities that people now expect from insurtechs or small startups that are coming into the industry. But we've done this while maintaining all the feature functionality that these deeply entrenched systems have. If I reflect on what we've achieved, I think it's monumental. Many companies don't go from the antiquated software itself to modern systems that can play with newer technology, but we've actually achieved that and we have customers starting to go live now. So I think ultimately it's a little bit of old in that we have all the feature functionality that you might expect, but it's new in terms of being modernized and now cloud native and utilizing cloud native scaling technology.
Underwriting quality has always come down to experience, appetite, and execution. Now, agentic AI is transforming all three. On September 30th in London, InsTech and Sixfold are hosting an exclusive networking event on how AI agents and underwriters are becoming the new team. You'll get a sneak peek at Sixfold's latest release, plus a panel of leaders from Anthropic, Mosaic Insurance, and Sixfold, tackling what's working today, what's holding us back, and what underwriting will look like in 2026. This event is invite only for insurers, brokers, and MGAs. Register your interest now at www.insec.co/events.
Again, these things aren't fun unless I provoke a bit. But if I'm buying technology now, don't I want to future-proof it and say, this needs to be fit for the next 5 to 10 years, the very latest technology. I'm going to put agentic AI at the core of everything I do and rush off and find some new kids on the block? Or is this sort of hybrid model of yours selling tried and trusted, some old, some new, what people really want?
There's two ways to look at this. You can certainly go out and get the latest technology for your core admin system. And part of what the trade-off there is that you may not have all the feature functionality you need, and you're chasing your vendor to implement those features so that you can actually operate your business. Or you can actually work with a trusted vendor who has that deep functionality and is modernizing their tech stack to support things such as agentic AI and AI capabilities. This is the challenge about AI. Many of the companies are starting to adopt it, but they're recognizing that in order to do their core processes actually have to work. They actually have to collect all the information that's necessary to utilize agentic AI. And ultimately, that's where they want to invest. They want to invest in areas where they can underwrite better, they can actually manage risks better. And the core plumbing of how they endorse policies, how they handle out of sequence transactions, how they handle large schedules, that's not where they want to invest. That's last year's or, gosh, maybe 10, 15 years ago's challenges. And so what we're seeing is that they're choosing to invest in technology that has the core features, the APIs, the data collection that's necessary for them to now compete in this new technology landscape.
You won't get away with having no AI capabilities, so you must have some. Where have you invested from that point of view? What's in the product suite as is?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Many vendors are thinking about how do they address AI? How do they incorporate it into their overall technology stack? And Insurity is no different there. Certainly today, we, like many others, are using AI internally to support our customers and actually introduce new features and function as software much faster than we ever have been able to do before. But then, of course, to your point, how are we supporting our customers and their desire to utilize AI? And specifically last year, we rolled out our Insurity document intelligence solution, which we chose to partner in order to bring to market rapidly a solution that allows our customers to ingest documents into their process workflows quickly, easily, and seamlessly because it comes pre-integrated with many of our core solutions. In this case, we partnered with OIP InsurTech, a business who's been building and implementing AI solutions well before we really were thinking of them in that way, and more we're thinking of machine learning type solutions to support business processes. And so these models are already pre-trained with many of the documents that you see both in the US and London market to actually quickly ingest and provide structured data right into process workflows. So last year we rolled that out, and today we're running multiple POCs directly with customers aligned to utilizing agentic AI alongside our data capture and alongside our workflow engines to support them enhancing their workflows. And once again, it's thinking, Robin, of partnership as opposed to necessarily building out LLM capabilities internally.
So I'll ask the right man now, because you're responsible for the ecosystem. OIP and SureTech, you mentioned, we like them. Anyone else you're working with? Anything else you'd like to work with which you haven't got? Here's a chance to broadcast to thousands of people.
Yeah, I think when you look at our approach, Insurity's approach from the very start has been to be an open ecosystem of technology by which we really recognize that you will pick and choose the different technology partners you need in order to fit your business model. In doing so, we've certainly enhanced our products to have open APIs and capabilities so that you can integrate them. And OIP InsurTech is just one partner that we're working with today. We're working both in the US and the London market with Vypr. I know many people who listen to this podcast are used to Vypr in the market, in the London market specifically. But as they've been growing in the US market, we've been alongside them, supporting them in terms of integrating with Insurity solutions to support what I believe has been a long-standing mission for all of us to actually help data transfer occur between US market cover holders into the London market and to support straight through data processing. I think from an expansion capability, I know that there's many that are working across pricing capabilities and rating capabilities. And I think that that area of the market will continue to grow. We have a strong partnership today with Coherent, who we rolled out Insurity spreadsheet API, which supports our customers in meeting them really where many of their actuaries build out models, which is in Excel, and allows them to quickly and easily turn those Excel models into APIs with a pre-integrated layer into Insurity's technology. So I think, Robin, today it's such a rich ecosystem of partners and InsurTech's building technology. I think the call to action is really to recognize that despite aspirations otherwise, each of us should work together to provide solutions into this industry as it is unique. It's unique by line of business. It's unique in terms of market. And I think ultimately we need to continue to think of an open ecosystem as the way in which we address this market, as opposed to a closed system, which some vendors tend to drive their customers towards. And I don't see that as being successful.
I don't think in this day and age you can be anything else. Looking ahead, next 12 months, any plans? What are you investing in that would be of interest to listeners?
Over the next 12 months, I think, Robin, you mentioned this earlier, we're mostly a US market vendor introducing products into this marketplace. And so some of the investment areas that we do have ongoing are really internationalizing our products even further. The international and London market is such a key part of our strategy. In addition to that, I would say we're investing heavily in supporting our customers' needs for collecting data and information in a structured way. If you think about how do you utilize AI, so much of it is built off of the data that you collect, how you manage it, and how you steward it. And we're actively working across not just our technology stack, but alongside our customers to support their initiatives for agentic AI and AI holistically.
And if you could leave the audience with one thought, what would it be?
I've been in the industry now for over 20 years, delivering solutions into this intermediary market space. And I think we've spoken a lot, whether it be from the London market perspective or whether it be from the US market perspective, about digitizing the overall distribution and value chain. And I think we're in a unique time in which, despite all the initiatives that have occurred in both marketplaces, technology is ready to meet this data-rich environment in terms of supporting new distribution channels, new ways in which systems and carriers, brokers, and MGAs work together. And the futurist in me believes that within the next 2 to 3 years, see fully distributed distribution channels interacting with one another. And I think that as we evolve from a technology perspective, the industry itself needs to evolve and take advantage of these new distribution channels and continue to push the boundaries of what our expectations are.
I do so hope you're right. The technology has never been better. And in fact, I go further than that. I say I don't think the industry understands quite how good the technology is or quite how far it's come. We still haven't yet sold the market how far the tech has improved in the last 3 years. They're still working on a slightly out-of-date view of life. Look, this has been a pleasure. In my world now, where I'm owned by new US owners, this dynamic between the US, UK, old versus new, the upstarts versus the established, I think that's all a very interesting topic, and thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Absolutely. Robin, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you today. I'm excited about where we're heading. I think if you look at the market activity, you look at the technology that's available today, I think we're going to see unprecedented change in the next few years.
I haven't given up hope. Chris, thank you for joining me.
Well, if you've made it this far, then I'm pretty sure you found that as interesting as I did. The InsTech podcast comes out every Sunday morning, where we spotlight the latest news, leading voices, and freshest updates across insurance that you need to know about. If you would like to take part in these conversations, head to www.instech.co to find out how you can join our network and be a part of the insurance intelligence for the curious.